How logic keeps you stuck in toxic relationships. Have you ever caught yourself ruminating about something that happened in your relationship, how you could fix it, what you did wrong, or why they have to act this way? Yeah, that's logic keeping you stuck, and narcissists love it. Hi, I'm Sandy. I'm going to give you a little backstory first, just to understand where I'm coming from. I grew up with a narcissist. I married a narcissist. I know that word gets thrown around a lot, but here's why I'm saying that. So narcissists love this toxic circle. There's probably a word for it out there. I'll put it here if I find it. We're going to call it a circle of abuse. So they're nice at face value. My ex is generous with money. He's nice. Nice can actually be manipulative, because usually you're being nice to get something from somebody you're being nice to. Or you're being nice because being bad is bad. I learned some of the nice part from Aaron Dowdy. I thought that blew my mind, because I was always raised to be nice. And narcissists will use, well, you're not being very nice at you, especially when you lay down boundaries. So, how does logic keep you stuck in narcissistic relationships and why they love it? Because the whole circle feeds them. Then all of a sudden, they run out of their supply. So maybe that's the other thing. They're nice when they're full. That's a thought. They're nice when they're full. So, they're nice because they're full. Then they're starting to get hungry again. And then all of a sudden, they need supply. So because you're in their relationship, they're going to get their supply. So they're going to freak out to get whatever supply they're looking for, which makes no sense to our logical brains at all whatsoever. Which is why we didn't do anything wrong, we can't fix it, and there's no hope. Hope died. When I was married, hope died. It died for a very long time. It's not completely back yet, but hope died. Because I was just hoping. One day, the church was like, just stick it out. Long suffering. Do this. You can do it. Think of all the good things in him. The circle just kept on going. Kept on going. Because logic says that if you confront somebody and they care about you, that they care about the relationship or situation or whatever's going on and why you're in that circumstance, logic says, well, maybe they just don't know that they're doing that. Even if they don't, whatever they are doing, they don't think they did anything wrong. Here's an example. So my mom was declining health-wise, and I wanted to help. My mom did all the finances. My dad never did any of that. So I wanted to help. And he's not savvy with computers. He's really anti-computers. So I wanted to help. So I did. And then I was helping them. And then one day I was at work, and I was working till 10 o'clock at night. And I got out of work and I opened my phone, and my dad had left me a voicemail. And it was about a calendar mishap that he was in charge of. I was not in charge of the calendar. Plus, it's not my calendar. Plus, I'm a human being. No. I think the message was probably 5 minutes. I didn't listen to all 5 minutes. He led with yelling and swearing and saying very, very abusive things. I did not call him back that night. The next morning, I did call him because I was supposed to go back over there. And I called him and I calmly told him, I'm not coming over today because I need a break. I'm not going to get a phone call at work with you yelling at me and swearing at me with something it was not my responsibility. In that moment, before I even got most of that out, he disowned me. He said, you are no longer my daughter and do not come over here anymore. It's sad. It was sad that my dad said that, but it set me free. It set me free. Months later, and even intermittently, my daughter would mention something because I told my daughter that I wasn't going over there because he disowned me. She's 14. And she's like, Grandpa never said that. This is where the gaslighting comes in. Sometimes it comes across as gaslighting, which it is. But another way to look at it is, to them, These things never happened. I have another video on what is reality over here. And it talks about my ex being amazed by Old Navy. Check it out. Because he had never supposedly been there before. Even though the jacket he's probably wearing the day he said it was from Old Navy. But anyway, check it out. It erased. Those things in their brains never happened. Never happened. And that's where our logical brains get stuck. Is the fact that there's no reason for my dad to disown me over a calendar situation. There's no reason. That none of that makes sense. And later on, when I did talk to him, months and months later, when he called to yell at me again about something that he didn't do, when I hadn't talked to him or been over there in months, I mentioned the fact that I wasn't helping him because he disowned me. And he's basically jumped over it, acting like it never happened. But we stay in those relationships. Well, all this toxic stuff going on, we stay in those relationships because we think that they'll change, that if we give them options. So in a weird way, they feed off of this whole process. It's not that the reality is so much different and that they just don't think they do anything wrong. So besides the fact that they don't think they do anything wrong, they feed off of us getting upset. That's their supply. So they purposely do things that are upsetting. My ex a couple times in therapy and just randomly, he said he would do those things on purpose just to see what I would do. I'm not joking. He had some moments of clarity, I guess, in there. But even though he said that, he was doing them on purpose because they feed off of it. So what we see as a really bizarre, flipped out situation, that's their food. That's their food. That's what they want. And then they can erase it. They got their supply, and then they can erase it. It doesn't make any logical sense at all whatsoever. So then I leave you with this question. If you know without a shadow of a doubt that they are not going to change, no matter what you say, no matter how much you hope, no matter how much you pray, no matter how long you wait, that at the end of the day, the only way change happens in this situation is accepting them for who they are and how you want to live your life. What kind of energy do you want to surround yourself with? Because yes, when they are nice, their energy may be happy. I feel energy on a way deeper level than that. And narcissistic energy isn't consistent. And inconsistent energy messes with my nervous system. And that is not okay for me anymore. I am tired of living like that. My adrenals are all screwed up. And my health and wellness is more important to me than any relationship. That's what saved me. Learning about health and wellness and how I want to feel and not being sick all the time, that trumps logic. So now when the logic button gets set off, I'm like, why am I in this relationship? I ask myself these questions. Why am I in this relationship? What purpose is it serving me? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic, on the fact that it's erased. It's erased, and they do it to feed off of it. I'm going to leave you with this. Narcissists seem nice. They look for other nice people. Narcissists do not like people with boundaries. They get very upset with people with boundaries. So at the end of the day, you get to decide if you can accept from them for who they are. I've accepted my dad for who he is. I love my dad. I will always love my dad. I just don't have to have him in my life. That makes me sad that it has to be that way. But then I can think of all the good things about him from here, and he can stay over there. That's why I divorced my ex. He can still be a nice and generous guy, but I don't have to take the financial hit. I can have food. I can save money. I can go to the beach today and not have to worry about the finances. So they get to still be them. I get to still have that relationship with them, but I don't have to live in that energy. So I encourage you to think about, why are you still staying? Because you can be set free. Drop in the comments if this resonates with you. Tag a friend. If you want to hear more about generational trauma, click here. If you want to hear more about mindset shifting, click here.